Okay. All right, it is great to be here with you. I'm glad to be invited to CPAC. For a while there, for a number of years, we didn't really want people who might want a new speaker or might talk about radical Islam. So I'm thrilled. There's new leadership in CPAC, and they've even allowed a guy like me to come speak. So it's awesome. It's great to be with you guys. Now, I know that a lot of people like to paint a rosy picture, and I'm an optimist. My sister says, you're the optimist among us four kids. Well, I like to paint a rosy picture, and so many remember the line from Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates. Well, I would submit to you, when you wake up and see the real world, it's really more like a jar of jalapenos. Because what you do today can bite you in the bottom tomorrow. So you got to always be cognizant of that. And when we talk about immigration, I did pretty well in school, but I'm still always learning things. Sometimes I'm surprised that I remain a little naive. But I have learned, when you hear the word comprehensive, in Washington, that's a code. Comprehensive means there's a whole lot of stuff we want to pass that nobody'd vote for if they see what it is. So we need a really long bill to hide that in so we can get it passed. That's what comprehensive means. You want to do it right. You don't have comprehensive bills. You have bills that are short enough for everybody to read. Now, I've spent a lot of time on our nation's border. I've spent a lot of time not just going on the little trips that the dog and pony shows and the PowerPoint proposals and programs they have for you as a member of Congress when you show up. I don't like those. I like to show up and just go out in the middle of the night. And eventually, though, they do know who you are and they get word. But Dana was telling me yesterday, boy, when we went out with you in the middle of the night, you knew the dirt roads, you knew well, that's the way to go see the border. And when you're out there in the middle of the night with border patrolmen with no supervisors around, they really open up to you. And one of them told me, you know what? The drug cartels and the gangs call us in Mexico, Homeland Security. I said, what? He said, logistics. Y'all seen the commercial for UPS, you get us your package, we're your logistics. We can get that package anywhere you want to go. Well, it applies. And in case you weren't aware, as I've learned the hard way, every mile of our border, whole border, is under some drug cartel's control. You don't cross that border unless you have permission of the drug cartel. So when somebody comes across, normally they've had to pay the gangs to bring them in. That's why one of the border patrolmen had said late one night, we were out there talking, he said, since I speak better Spanish, being Hispanic, than some of the men and women coming across. And I don't let them get away with some of the things that others do. They have their list of questions they're supposed to ask people that come across. One of them is, why did you come across to America? And he said, over 90% of the time, the answer is to escape gang violence. He said, when they tell me that, I let them know in Spanish, you may fool some gringo with that answer, but you and I both know you paid a gang to get you into America, so don't be giving me that stuff. And that, you said 90% of the time they'll say, well, you're right, but we were told to say we're evading gang violence by coming. They know. I mean, I've seen them in the middle of the night when a group comes in, look at their identification stuff and start trading and pass them around, and then they ask, here's mine. Really? You guys are passing all this stuff around? And I still get messages from our border patrolmen all hours of the day and night. And what they're telling me now is that the drug cartels are very smart. They send a group across And they know when 2 or 3 groups come across, that's going to take up all their resources, because the Obama administration has lessened the number of Border Patrol that are actually out there standing at our borders. So when a group comes across, they have to move in, especially if they throw in some kids. And of course, all our hearts break when you see a poor little kid that's been drugged across Mexico from Central America, other places. So we got compassion. But wouldn't it be more compassionate to say, you're not coming across Mexico, you're not dragging your daughter that may end up as a slave to sex cartels. We're not going to allow that to happen. Don't even bother to come, because we have secured our border. Wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't that be more compassionate? And how about the millions of people in the world that we're told want to come to America and want to do it the right way? And all of those who have come the right way. Isn't it more fair to say, wait a minute, you're not coming in unless you come legally. And if you've come illegally, I mean, I guess we're all subject to how we grew up. But we had a community swimming pool at Delwood Park, in the little town I grew up in, and every year they called it Splash Day. People would line up, the pool was opening, and Mr. Ellis was in charge, and he believed in the rule of law. And if somebody tried to cut the line, he wouldn't make them get back where they were before they cut. He would make them go to the very back of the line, and it cut out all the line jumping, because people knew it wouldn't pay off. Now, we've had testimony before our committee, the Judiciary Committee, the Immigration Committee. We've had people telling us, look, these people are coming for more opportunity. They're trying to get away from bad circumstances and coming for opportunity. Why would you want to deny them? Well, nobody wants to deny people opportunity, but I would ask, why did they leave where they came from? Well, they're coming for more opportunity. No. Why don't they have that opportunity where they were? Well, there's corruption, there's graft, they don't follow the law there. Exactly. Where they come from, they don't follow the rule of law. They don't apply it across the board. And so think about it. They want to come to this country, and once here, say, now that we're here, we want you to be like the corrupt country we came from. We want you to ignore your laws, and that would make us like the country they came from. We can't do that. We owe this country more than that. And one of the things that has been forgotten in this country, when we talk about voting rights, absolutely every American ought to have those rights. And don't think for a minute that if somebody says, no, we're going to let people come in legally and no path to citizenship, no right to vote. Well, that's already happening. People that have come in illegally, they're jumping on the bandwagon to get citizenship. And if you think for a moment that people that are given amnesty of any kind, a legal permit of any kind, are going to be kept from voting, you're sadly mistaken, because as soon as you get an amnesty, people will come right behind it and say, how dare you? You're being like those slave traders that say slaves were only 3/5 of a person. Of course, those were all Democrats, and Republicans don't believe in that. But anyway, that's where it will go. They'll get the right to vote. And we have got to train up people to understand there are voting rights, but there are voting responsibilities. And unless you're educated as to what it takes to keep this little experiment in democratic republic, we won't keep it. People cannot come in and get citizenship until they understand what it takes to maintain the greatest country, the greatest government in the history of the world. That's what needs to be done. Folks, we're in trouble. This country is in trouble. And what happens from here will determine whether we get another 20, 30, 100, 200 years. We have got to get this right, or people will rise up in the future and they won't call us blessed, they will curse our names. We have got to get this right. We've got to stand for the rule of law. We've got to stand up and say we're not giving special privileges to anybody. And if we will do that, we can say with Lincoln that this nation under God can have a new birth of freedom again. We can do it again, so that government of the people, by the people, and for the people will not perish from the earth. Thank you. God bless you.